Rabbitohs Radio Podcast, the number one source for everything South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell and joined by my loyal co-host and friend, Darren Browny Brown and Big Lez from Big Lez's Rugby League Podcast. What's doing, boys?
Yeah, g'day, chaps. Big Les, and g'day to all the viewers and listeners out there. How you been?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. New Darryl Lee t-shirts. I said would have liked it a little bit tighter around the arms, but look, no complaining here. Ready to go.
He's got to work on the Warwick Farms, listeners.
Yeah.
But he's getting there. He's a big unit, no doubt about it. But look, we've got some big news. Some of the biggest re-signing news for the club and ourselves in a long, long time. And Darryl Lee, they're back on board for another year, boys. Big win. We'd like to really thank them, the crew over there at Darryl Lee. Went out the Ingleburn factory the other day, and there's plenty of little factory sectors there that you can pick up pretty cheap too, can't you?
Yeah, there certainly is, chaps. And a big thank you to Darryl Lee and James, your great mate out there, the general manager of Darryl Lee, another big supporter of ours since day one. And 2025 season. I just want to give a quick promotion to their limited edition new chocolate. Absolutely sensational. If you like your chocolate, get down to all the local supermarkets, the IGA, Woolies, Coles. They sell them down there. This is an outstanding block of chocolate.
And he's the first player to ever have a chocolate block named after him from Darryl Lee. So the Brownie, yeah, well done, mate.
There
Darren.
you go. Double choc.
The double choc Darren Brownie.
Make sure you get out there and buy one. It's delicious. We might have some after the.
There's no
show.
there's no Joey chocolates or anything like that. You know, no Sterlo chocolates. It's the Brownie. So there you go.
There you go.
They're like prickly forgotten blokes like that.
And the shirts look
Joey
all right.
and Sterlo, aren't they? They always just think about Brownie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're feeling pretty good, mate. I'm wrapped to have them in the studio, and thanks for them for getting behind us for yet another season. We've got a massive season coming up, and it was a big week for the club. Rumours were flying around last week, and they've been going. That Lockie Ellis looked like he was on the out, and it's not really Lockie's fault. I think he done his best at the club, and I thought he played pretty well for periods, especially 2022 when he took the reins over from the great Adam Reynolds. But I think his contract was just too big for a guy that probably wasn't going to be in the starting 13 and probably not in the 17 if you looked at it. And in the end, South Sydney granted his manager the release, and he's gone down to the Dragons for 2 years, and they're going to get a good player there, a bloke who's committed, fit. You never have to question his attitude and his fitness and his commitment because he puts in every week.
Yeah, it certainly has, chaps. And obviously he's going over there on the back of a serious leg injury that did last year. But, a great signing, I believe. It's disappointing to see Lockie leave the club. I thought he would have added great value this year around the halves. There was talk that he was going to play a number 14 role and a little bit of hooker as well. So, disappointing. And like you said, chaps, he had some really, really good moments for the club and probably struggled a little bit in a couple of areas as a number 7, especially there's a lot of criticism out there from, supporters and media that area of his game was a little bit lackluster and up to NRL level. But I'm sure he'll be working on that. The Dragons have brought him as a number 7, the partner Kyle Flanagan over there, and replaced Ben Hunt. He had big shoes when he replaced Adam Reynolds. Well, he's got even bigger shoes again to replace Ben Hunt.
And I think it's a big signing for the Dragons. And I think you've got a team as well at the Dragons where he just complements the team, not having another superstar there in the 7. I think it just really evens things out. I think it's a really good, player to have in that sort of position. I think if they use him right, it's going to work well. And I think that entails, obviously, Kyle Flanagan playing a very similar role to what he did last year, which was just sort of sitting back and playing off his halfback. And I think that's the best of Kyle Flanagan too when he was. So if he can do the same thing with Lockie Ilias, if Lockie Ilias can get that confidence from Gutho, Cookie, Val Holmes, the big players in this side that he's running the team, I think it's going to work really well.
Yeah, they've bought pretty well. They've bought a lot of experience, like you said, the Dragons, and good luck to them. And good luck to Lockie Ilias. I think, like I said, the contract was his biggest problem there at South. I think if he was on a lot less money, he'd still be at the club.
Yep.
But, it looks like they've already paid him a month. November, full freight there. So the Dragons didn't have to tip that bit in. And I think South might be tipping it a little bit more, and then the Dragons fill the rest of the freight. So Yep, well done to the Dragons. Nice little coup there, but look, it obviously puts a question mark on our depth, and we're going to have a look at that in the halves going forward. But there's also another announcement yesterday. We're going to have another trial up there at Gosford. I was just looking at that on the Dog and Bone here, boys. 15th of February up there at Intrust E Group Stadium at Gosford against Manly. So looking forward to getting up to that one. Brendan Taliski will be at that one. Brownie?
Yeah, he certainly will. Brendan, a big fan of the show and a passionate South Sydney supporter, and this trial has been ongoing for the last couple of years now. It's a great opportunity to blood some of these young kids that will trial and train throughout the pre-season, so give them an opportunity to play at the top level. But yeah, it's really looking forward to that one.
Jamie Humphrey started last year
yeah.
for Manly in that trial. Well, we were just beaten on the bell 66-0, I think. It was 66 for a better performance there. Gosford.
Mate, 100%. You're ordering with all the juniors you got in the phone there, mate. You'd be really ready for this one.
I'll be coming out. Yeah, the black book will be out, and I'll be certainly seeing how everyone fares at that stage. That'll be that one trial, and then we've got the Charity Shield the week after. So there's our two big main trials leading into the season, boys.
Once again, the Charity Shield is not what it used to be either, chaps. Used to be pretty much a grand final. We'd be getting ready the whole preseason for this Charity Shield match. It'd be a bloodbath. But once again, these days, they use it as a trial to give the young blokes a bit of a run. They'll probably play around 30 players on the night. It's going to be hot out there. I believe it's a Saturday afternoon game. A lot of reports that plenty of heat out there, and
it's always
it's going to be hot.
You've been out there many times, I have myself. But going back to Charity Shield, Brownie, back in your day, was it spoken about during the week about let's put the stink on and stuff like that?
Yeah, it certainly was. Yeah,
obviously it's a different game than what it is these days. They're just trying to get through a trial and get through their players and that.
Yeah, just about every Charity Shield there was always going to be a pen and ink, especially when you got the blokes of the likes of Les Davidson, David Boyle, and Wayne, so to speak, Tugger. Yeah, always a great game to be part of, and like I said, it's certainly changed in today's game, but more for the better, I suppose.
They had a few beasts, didn't they? Craig Young would have been.
Craig Young
had his hands all over, wouldn't he?
Graham Wynn, Robert Stone in the older.
He threw a few punches over the years.
There were some good ones.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we might get to the little bit of depth in the halves. Now, we probably agree that just on the contract that the young bloke signed, Lewis Dodd, coming out from England, he'd have the rails run there in the halves, and Cody Walker. I mean, no one's going to put too much pressure on King. But we'll go a little bit further in the depth chart there. What about Jamie Humphries? Do you consider him a halfback option in the early rounds?
Yeah, look, I think he's a really good player, really skillful. Obviously, had a bit of payback there for Manly. Obviously, didn't get selected in that game when they versed us back in the midpoint of last year, and we towed them up when they had Carl Lawton there. He ended up carving us up reserve grade. So, really skillful player. Obviously, in the trials, he's been killing it for the past few years now, and everyone's sort of had a little bit of a pen through his name. And just so talented, really good raw ability, really darty, quick, big body as well. So really good in defence. Obviously, they tried to develop him as a hooker over there at Manly too for a little bit. I think he is more of a half, but I certainly think that with the halves that we've got, at the moment with Dodd, Walker as well, Jack White, and if you're going to throw him in there, I know that he's going to go back and play centre now, but halves where I think that he could. If he was at hooker, I wouldn't be surprised. If he was in the halves, I wouldn't be surprised either.
That's good to have that bit of versatility. And he actually made his debut as a halfback. He's played one NRL game, and he played as a number 7, filled in for Daly. Cherry Evans over there north of the bridge. But, yeah, he played well that day as well. Scored a try after a couple of minutes and did his job, had a nice little kicking game, ball, made his tackles. So, yeah, another good opportunity for him to play various positions. But like you said, Chaps, there's a bit of depth there in the halves.
He's a real specimen, Jamie Humphries. A lot of people are excited about him at the club, and people externally that have been watching him in the lower grades. He's got a great goal kicking. He's a good goal kicker. I think he's 80-odd% goal kicker. He's got a nice little left foot grubber on him. And you spoke about defence. He's actually a strong defender. A little bit like the bloke who just walked out the door Monday there for Wollongong. I really like him.
You lost the golden boot in Tane Milne. I think it's good to have a the ranks.
Well, yeah, they haven't re-signed Tane. I still don't know. I still scratch my head about that one. But yeah, no one's picked him up yet, Tane. But yeah, well, he's obviously another option there in the goal kicking department. Look, blokes who probably haven't got a lot of experience in the halves there. Jai Gray in the squad. Look, a bloke who knows how to play first receiver, second receiver. We know how quick he is. We know what he's like in a 2-on-1. He can ice a 2-on-1 if he has to. He's got a kicking game on him. And you know that he's going to back up the middle if there's anything on in the backfield. Defensively, probably going to come under question because of his size. But you're not going to ever question his ticker. Jai Gray, on him being a backup in the half too.
I don't think there's too much question around his defence after the backup tackles he was making at the back end of last year. I mean, yes, there's obviously going to be that question when he's in the front line because of his size, but some of the cover tackles he was making at the back end of last year in some big games against some top 8 sides, I wouldn't be too hesitant to chuck him there in the front line. I think he could handle himself. He's a real tough player.
Correct me if I'm wrong, chaps. Did he come down as a half? Did we buy him as a half?
Came down half 5'8". Yep, definitely did come down from the Queensland schoolboy system.
So he served clubs throughout his junior system, and it won't be a surprise if Wayne definitely uses him as a halfback. He's the type of player that something's always going to happen when he's got the ball in his hand. He's got a lot of speed. He likes to take the ball on, take the line on, as you've seen when he plays that fullback role. But yeah, don't be surprised if he's a number 7 come round 1.
Really comfortable on that right-hand side too. A lot of sides. So if they do chuck him there and put Cody back over on the left, wouldn't shock me.
The bloke very similar, a bit older. Jerome Burns comes down as a number 6 and a number 1. He's obviously an option in the halves, but I'm sure he's got to sink his teeth into a preseason yet, a proper big NRL preseason, and see how he goes. But you never know what happens in a rugby league season. As you've seen this year, there's players that debuted and played this year that you wouldn't have we weren't even talking about in January, were we? So, look, you never know. Jerome Burns is another little wild card.
Experience is experience, and when you've got a 27-year-old guy that can play pretty much anywhere in the spine, I think you're always going to be grateful to have someone like that in the squad. And I think if there's injuries, I think that he can definitely make a spot there for a few games. I'm really keen to see if he does crack first grade.
I'm sure he'll be taking a lot of out of Cody's book as well. Like, didn't debut to late in his career, and Jerome Burns might be in a similar situation where he debuts at a late age. And
another bloke who's just signed on this year he wasn't playing with anyone, actually. He came from Manly a couple of years ago, but Josh Schuster, who's probably predominantly a back rower, but played a lot of halves in the Harold Matthews, the SG Ball. I think they won the SG Ball, didn't they? Or the Harold Matthews when he was there. Prodigious talent, a real star. Has played a bit of 5'8" at Manly.
Yeah, played a lot there.
Yeah, he can ball play. We know he's got a nice little deft left foot kick, another left foot kicker in the club. But do you see him as an option, possibility jumping in at number 6?
I think it's a mid-game sort of thing. If there's an injury mid-game and you need to chuck him in there, maybe he gets a crack. But I think that Wayne's going to really develop him into one of the better back rowers, and especially with a kicking game, I think that's going to be so deadly.
The beauty about Josh Schuster, he can play a number of different positions. And the Manly Eagles, he suited him as a 5'8". That was the issue over there when he was at loggerheads with the coaching staff. He wanted to play 5'8". They wanted to play him in the back row. But, yeah, very skillful player that could easily fit in and play a game for you at 5'8", without a doubt.
Well, look, 2 different players, but look at John Sutton and the career that he had. Obviously started off in the halves, but then progressed into the row, and he was excellent there. So I think that maybe not a similar run. I think it's going to happen a little bit sooner for Schuster, but I think that progression into the back row is inevitable for me.
Especially when you see Marcus put pressure on kickers at first receiver, you can always just do a quick pass out to your left edge back row like a Sutto or a Josh Schuster, who can just put a nice little deft left foot kick into the corner and be the first one down there.
He's got so much tricks in his game, hasn't he? Little, like you said,
the no-look passes.
The no-look pass out the back, a little grubber. So he's a very skillful player.
Mate, having Sutto next to him, training him as well, and just giving him little words of advice, I think is going to be so good. I'm keen.
The main thing for Schuster is get fit, get rock hard, and things will look after itself.
Yeah, for sure. And the train and trial boys, that's all the full-time blokes in the depths in the halves that we have chucked up there. Train and trial blokes, Bailey Biondioto, who we spoke on the last episode, as a hooker option, but he has played in the half. He's quite a skillful player. Likes to get his hands on the ball. Very quick at train. He's got spiders on him. He's very hard to handle. You can't lay a finger on this kid when he's on the front foot. Yeah, young Matty Humphries. He's one we're going to have to keep an eye out for. Going to start the season in SG ball because he's only 18, so he still qualifies for that age group. Gets an opportunity to train with the big boys there, the full-time squad. It'll do wonders for him, Brownie.
Yeah, it certainly will, Chaps. He'll learn a lot off the experienced players like Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell, Jai Arrow, Jack Whiten. And like you just said, he is the future of the club, and we really look forward to watching him develop over the next couple of years because he's one hell of a player, and he's a great halfback. We're watching him in the pathways. He's got a great kicking game, and he's a genuine number 7. And you just spoke about him barking at his forwards, and that's what you want from your number 7. You want him barking orders and getting to parts of the field where you want to be a successful team.
Good to have that confidence early as well. And I think that, it's going to be a great sign when we have that guy in the lower ranks in the next few years as well. We've got a lot of halves at the moment. So I think that he's probably a little bit unlucky in that regard, that he is a little bit further down the pecking order. But, next year, 2 years down the track, maybe we might see him in the Rabbitohs.
SG ball still.
Well, you don't want to coming in 18 and losing his confidence. So you get an opportunity to sit down there in ball, jump up and play the rest of the season in flag, maybe grab a game in New South Wales Cup towards the back end of the year for some experience, and that'll set him up for a big preseason going into 26. So, I've got very high hopes for young Matty Humphries, Central Coast product there. Ashton Ward's also doing a full preseason there. He's like a number 6 and a fullback, pretty speedy sort of guy. I think he's a goal kicker as well. So there's a couple of names there to look out for, boys. You don't know too much about Wardy?
Not too much, mate. But as I said, look, it's great to have that depth in the halves. Obviously, Wardy can play a bit of fullback as well. So it's always good to have that depth and versatility.
Well, something that we haven't had over the last couple of seasons is a few players that can push for selection if warranted. But, a number of different options Wayne Bennett will have throughout the season.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Look, some rumours out there. Paul Crawley did an article about a couple of guys that we're interested in. We're chasing.
Yep.
One of them was Matty Lodge, who we've already spoken about on the show here. Brownie, you're a big rap on him, and you'd like to see him in the red and green.
Well, I just think he's the type of player that we need, Chaps. We need a big middle that's going to charge the ball forward, play big minutes. He's got a quick play the ball in him, and he's got a lot of experience. So I think he's probably the only big middle forward that's on the open market at this point of time, and that's an area which I think we're a little bit lacking in.
Yep.
David Mawali, we got Junior Totola, Shaq Mitchell, but I just think we need another big middle. Sean Kepi's another one, another big hard middle that's got a bit of aggression in him.
Yeah, 100%. And look, Lodge certainly doesn't lack aggression. Obviously, big boxing match the other night. Smoked his opponent too. So, look, I mean, having that level of aggression as well, just amongst some young mongrels too, coming off the bench. Obviously, Huebner's a guy that can play a little bit of middle and edge. Just getting him around those sort of guys and getting them, aggressive and getting them, really switched on, I think is going to be huge too. So, look, I'd love Lodge to come down to South Sydney, and look, he excelled last time under Wayne. And just judging off that last few games for Manly, I think that we could get the best out of him.
Yeah, I'd love to see Lodge down there too. Not sure if it's going to happen. There's a few other little whispers going around about a few other things, which we won't get into today. You spoke about Huebner. I was down at training today. He's rock hard fit. Huebner. He's in great nick at the moment. So he's someone I'm really excited about. The other one was tossed up was Brandon Smith. Look, being a Roosters player, contracted, I'm going to throw it. He's $1 million to $1 to bet the Bunnies next year, but 2026, mate, you never know, mate.
Yeah, look, who knows, Chaps? The rugby league's a funny game, but I don't think he'll be there in 2025. He is contracted to the Roosters, and look, he's just coming back from knee reconstruction, so you're not going to see him for the first half of the season. Any club that does pay big money for him, you want to get value out of him, and I just don't think you're going to get value out of him at the moment. 2026 might be a different story. Might be able to get him a little cheaper.
A lot of the players in the open market that are just coming off ACLs and some serious injuries, there's always that waiting period where you just sort of see how they come back. And when, what the fitness is like, and if they can still have the same speed, agility, how they are off the mark and stuff like that, how they handle themselves. Are they still sort of a bit scared and ginger in defence because they are a bit afraid to re-injure themselves? So there is always that waiting period. I don't think anyone's really going to go near him for an early release, but certainly 2026, I think, could definitely be a few clubs barking. And look, to be honest, he'd be a great player. Him and Cam Murray going at people in defence is always a nice little thought to have. But yeah, look, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I think he's more likely to end up on the Gold Coast, even though he doesn't want to leave Sydney. The Roosters want Sam Verrills back, so I think that swap deal is a little bit more likely.
They're chasing Reece Robson as well.
Okay,
but look, I feel a little bit sorry for Brandon because my opinion, I thought he was playing some of his best footy since coming from Melbourne to the Roosters when he did his knee. A little bit unfortunate, but yeah, it's just the way rugby league works these days. It's a business, and the players are getting shipped around left, right, and centre. And hopefully, it all works out for Brandon because I know he's doing a lot of good things.
Yeah, well, Brandon Smith at his best is a dynamic player, like you want in your squad. You can run over the top. Yeah, you can play the hooker position. He's a good defender, good energy in the group.
Yep.
Look, I don't think we've seen the best of him at the Roosters, and I'm happy about that too. I'm stoked about it. So, and the Roosters are going to pay him to not play next year, and Sam Walker. So everyone's a winner here on Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. We might add that one up when the show's over. How much they're paying blokes not to play. The other one was mentioned in the article was Bateman. Like a Bateman experienced player. We spoke about him last time. Thoughts? Does he come to the Bunnies or not?
I think he doesn't come back to the NRL for a little while. I think that he's going to be a bit more family focused over there in the Super League. Maybe take up another deal with Warrington or something like that. I can't see him back in the NRL. I think that he's left the NRL a few times now to go back and forth just to see family, which is fair enough. But I think you've ultimately got to make that decision. I know he wants to play NRL, but he's probably better suited to stay over there in the Super League. Plus, we've got too many back rollers. So.
Yeah, I'm with you, Les. There's certainly some whispers and some talk out there that South are interested in him, as are probably a number of other clubs. But for me personally, I just don't think we need that type of player at the club at the moment. We've got an abundance of edge back rowers coming through. Jai Arrow, Cam Murray. You've got young Thomas Fletcher who's coming through. Keon can play, edge back row. I just think we need that big middle rather than an edge. But look, who knows? Wayne might have different ideas, and we'll leave it up to Wayne.
100%.
And it sort of blocks the pathway of a young bloke like Thomas Fletcher, who's just about to come out of the rehab bib. He looks rock hard and fit and big and strong. He was down there. They're putting him through his paces today. I think he's maybe full conditions next week, Monday, when he gets to training. That wouldn't be great for a guy like Tommy. But I think all the ducks do line up for him to come to the club. The both CEOs of the Tigers and the Rabbitohs have a relationship. The Tigers won't have him there back in the building. Benji, from my understanding, won't have him there. He left on bad terms. That's why they couldn't wait to get him over to England. He's on big money. The Tigers would have to pay a bit of freight for him to come over. Look, I'd be very surprised if he's not at South by the end of 2025.
If it certainly happens, chaps, I think there'll be a couple of positional changes to our squad that's already there, such as the likes of Keon might have to move into the middle.
I think he's destined for the middle anyway. I think my edge back rowers would be Schuster and Ewan Aiken, most likely, depending on if we get anyone else and stuff like that. But yeah, I just don't see it happening, chaps.
Yeah, well, stranger things have happened, but I mean, I think we are after a middle and a veteran centre, from my understanding. So whether or not they can weave a bit of magic out there and find someone, maybe there's a middle that we're not thinking of, like a Christian Welsh that could come up. Played in the grand final this year, looks a little bit slow in his older age, but a bloke you'd love to have in your squad at the same time.
Oh, certainly, and he only probably looks slow because he's playing in that Melbourne system. If he goes to any other club, he probably dead set superstar, and we'd love to have him at the club. Grand final winner, plenty of experience, been in that Melbourne system for a long, long time, and it'll do wonders for the young kids coming through. So, yeah, who knows? Christian Wells might be the end. What's the old saying? Watch this space.
Yeah, that might be about it there, boys. There was a little murmurs there about Tommy Starling possibly coming in a couple of years, but that's just all whispers in the background. There's still a lot of water to go under the bridge there. But you got anything else, boys?
Look, a little bit of an announcement for myself. I'll be coming out of retirement and playing for Southeastern under 21s
Hang on,
next
we
season.
didn't do the drum roll then. But yeah.
Wow.
There we go. We got the big fella back.
Wow.
Yeah, back in action.
Now, I've got to ask you, what position are you projecting? You haven't spoken to the coach yet, but where are we playing?
Look, mate, I haven't even been added
Are
to
you
the
a big
group chat
Campbell
yet.
Graham, like a big centre?
Haven't been added to the group chat yet, mate. So look, I
you
need
got
to
a big wingspan like him.
haven't signed
know?
any contracts yet, but look, it's verbal confirmation. I'm not sure. I'm happy to play anywhere in the forwards. I think that's probably where I'm most likely
Like
end
the
up.
president, Kyle Halves, you have signed another one, Kyle? You
Oh,
happy with that?
I'm not sure if you know, but Southeastern proudly sponsored by Darryl Lee.
Oh, watch
They
out!
are too. There's always
The
that
stars
connection.
align, mate. The stars align.
So, Les, if you do want to play at the Gulls, you got to give up the nice Darryl Lee chocolate and do yourself a favour.
The
Double choc brownie.
Double talk, Darren Brownie, yeah. How good. Yeah, that might be about it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitohs.
Up the bunnies.
The Rabbitohs.